I've been predicting for a while that countries besides the United States would start to punish their expats. And now Australia is doing just that. There's a new tax rule coming into place for Australian expats, and you're going to want to know about this. Hi, I'm Andrew Henderson, and in Australia, and in many other Anglo countries, the idea that your home should be able to be sold capital gains tax-free, or in the case of the United States, at least with a substantial amount of capital gains tax-free, that has been a sacred tax principle. It's a big thing that politicians talk about. Why should people be paying capital gains tax when they sell the biggest asset they ever buy? Their home. This is their castle. We don't want to tax it. And in Australia, that's been the case. No capital gains tax when you sell your primary residence. There's a whole system in place where people go and live in houses just to be able to exempt them from capital gains tax. Well, now Australia is rolling out a new provision, and they've given you kind of a grace period until June 30th, 2019 to be able to sell your primary residence without paying capital gains tax. Basically what they're saying is, if you're an expat, if you're a tax non-resident, you're living somewhere else, we're going to start to treat you like a tax non-resident and like a non-resident on the sale of your personal home. So if you've got a family home in Australia, you lived there before and then you packed your bags and moved to Dubai or to Kuala Lumpur, Singapore, wherever else you may be, that you better sell that house before June 30th or else you're going to get whacked with a big capital gains tax. No more exemption. This is something that I have talked about, and I've said countries are going to start doing this through the back door for a couple of years now. You know, the United States, they just come out right out and say it. If you sell anything, if you make any money anywhere in the world, we're going to dip our hands in and take a piece of it. We're going to wet our beaks. What Australia is saying is, hey man, you can come back and live in Australia. No problem. Sell the house, capital gains tax free. But if you sell that property when you are tax non-resident, when you're not giving us our tithe, then we're no longer going to allow you to use this personal residence tax exemption to save capital gains. And so the bigger issue for me is, as tax non-residents, as becoming an expat, as exiting the Australian tax system to go where you're treated best becomes more difficult, I would say that in general, the idea of keeping a family home probably doesn't make a lot of sense. In fact, when I'm putting together plans for Australians with our tax professionals there, what we increasingly are suggesting people do is get out of some of these assets while you're resident, while you have more preferential treatment, and reduce your footprint in the country. The last thing you want to do is make it look like, hey, I'm planning on coming back to Australia at some point. You want to be getting out. If you're leaving permanently, then what you're doing should reflect that. Don't hold on to a family house and let your aunt live there for $50 a week. You should probably be selling that house. But now they're putting a gun to your head and saying, all right, you've got a clock, sell it now, you get the exemption. If you sell it later, you won't. Here's the challenge. In addition to the tax issues, properties in Australia have been dropping in value. There is volatility in many Australian markets, and quite frankly, the fact that the government is setting policy that says, we're not going to let you choose when to sell your property, to me is a big blow to expats, and to me is why if you're leaving Australia or you're leaving a country like it, you probably want to really tidy up your affairs before you go, because you never know what they're going to do, especially in some of these markets where property sales are seasonal and you may not have that much of an opportunity to sell it quickly. You might take a hit. And so being prepared, clearing out your footprint in a country, whether it's Australia or somewhere else, to me, going forward, makes a lot of sense. That said, if you own a personal residence in Australia, now is the time to sell if you plan on doing so.
I'm Andrew Henderson, and if you're looking for a way to legally reduce your taxes, build your freedom, and create wealth faster as a global citizen, then you've come to the right place. I want you to do 3 things right now. Number 1, click the button to subscribe to our channel. Make sure to get notifications so you never miss a new video. Number 2, get a copy of our #1 best-selling book, Nomad Capitalist, on Amazon and learn all the dozens of benefits of our lifestyle. And number 3, if you're already a 6 or 7-figure entrepreneur and you want to put these strategies in place, go to nomadcapitalist.com and find out how to get some help.